Hey guys, in this video, I want to show you how I came up with this setup and what I'm using here. I'm gonna break down every single piece of gear used to create this look. And this look was inspired by, I don't know if any of you guys are gamers out there, but Xbox did a developer direct. And in that, was it just, sorry, my key light went out there. So in that stream, they showed a lot of the behind the scenes stuff on the second angle on the talking head pieces, which caused me to obsess over the gear that they were using. And then I started to wonder, who filmed this for Xbox and Microsoft, because I love the quality and I loved what they're able to do. And I dove in, did a lot of research, and I'm pretty sure I found the name of the company that shot this. And if not, I apologize for giving you false credit, but I believe it was Mighty Media. If it was you guys and you happen to see this, comment below and let me know. Or I guess you could just take the credit. Here are some of the side-by-side shots from the developer direct that inspired me to recreate this setup. So let's go ahead and get into every piece of gear that I used to get this look. We're gonna switch over to Caitlin's camera here, and can you see me? In my own camera. And we're gonna switch over to my lav here, and now we're gonna flip the house lights on. So it's about to get ugly. Okay, so first off, I want to address in this room is not treated very well. I'm sure you've heard that already. So not a great sound altogether, but let's dive into, let's do the lighting first, because I think the lighting is probably the most important thing. So let's go to our key light. Now in the Xbox Direct, they were just using, it looked like one dome in most of their shots. They had some different setups I couldn't see all of, but they're using one dome. And what I got here, this is not exactly what they were using, but from what I could see, it looked like the same size. I think this is a 35 inch. This is the Aputure Dome 2, is that what it's called? It says right on it. It's upside down. Light Dome 2. And they didn't use a grid, so I tore my grid is hanging off here because I just leave it on. So this is doing nothing. I just took it off because I thought the grid isolated it a little too much. And I think some of the spill helped add a little bit to seeing the room because, well, it's a black room, and when I have no light in here at all, it was almost an entirely black image on camera. So that's the dome. I'm using the Godox UL150, which is one of my favorite lights. And then I'll link the C-stand and the batteries in this too. Not that that necessarily matters too much, but yeah, I got some affordable V-Locks that I'll recommend, and then some, I actually want to try out those small rig ones that they look pretty nice for the size, but this is only at 8%. It's a 150 watt. And that was enough to do this. So I love how big and soft it is. They did have sound blankets they were using. I don't know if they were used to actually, I'm sure it was for acoustic and to block light, but I don't know what they were using it for, but they had it basically in the same position anyway, which worked out for me here too, because the sound, I'm sure you hear, this wall here would be one of the first to echo my voice back. So this is blocking that there. So that's it for the key light. Let's, the backlight. The backlight I have over here in the corner, and oh, I don't know if you see Kratos here. I'm sure you can hear him smelling and breathing and making dog sounds. So the backlight here, this is pretty simple. Is it blinding the camera? It blinded me. So this, I'm gonna flip this off, is just an Amaram 60X. And then this actual Bowens, the can attachment, I don't know what you call these. The can attachment's actually from an SL60, so it's the bigger one. So larger fill out in that direction, but it's not the one that came with, just for reference. And I just have it running off of MPFs, and I had it set to 3200 Kelvin at 20%. And this is working, this is actually doing a lot. It doesn't look like it on the footage, and I seen this in one of the shots I'll show here that the Xbox Game Direct was using. And I never thought to use a backlight this way. I'm used to using like a hair light or like a backlight from a corner or booming it over. But I didn't feel like setting up a boom in here either. But when I seen the way they were doing it, I thought I'd give it a try. So what this actually is doing is just blasting up toward the back of me. And it is ever so slightly adding a little gold frame around me and the hair. And I'm not using anything boomed above. This is a really simple setup to just hide a light behind somebody. Also here, this is something that I just kept in here. I didn't place it here for this video. I have like 6 of these. And this also worked along with this light. So it looked like this was motivating the light that was hitting me over there, but it's definitely all this. This thing is not bright at all. If you guys are interested in this, I will link the video where I learned how to make these. I built this. They were super cheap. I think altogether it cost like 15, 16 bucks. If you guys are more interested in how I did it, I did mine a little different. I'll do a video, just comment below if you guys want to see how I made that. What else? That's it for lighting. Lighting's super simple. That was it, 2 lights. And from the looks of what I've seen in their stuff, it looked like they were only using 2 lights. Yeah, I almost tripped over the barbell there. This is just a home gym, if you guys haven't picked up on that yet. So, cameras, let's get to the fun stuff. I'm sure you can hear the Edelkrone sliding back and forth. It's not the quietest slider, but start with camera A here. So camera A is the Sony FX6. Now this doesn't necessarily matter what camera's using here. I'm just showing you what I have. But I think the point I want to show here is the lens choices, the angles, and the lighting. So I have the Sony FX6, and then I have, everything's still recording. I'm gonna stop these. So Sony FX6, it's running off of one of my favorite batteries here. I will link that also below, which is a Came TV. It's a small V-Lock. I love it. It lasts forever and it's so tiny and lightweight. I'm using the Axoon Cine i2 here, and that's connected to a Tilta cage off my Sony FX6. I'm using the new Tilta Arm 2, which I love. And what I'm doing with that is I'm sending that to my iPad here, which my iPad's on one of the cages with the handles. So you can also pop this off. You can unscrew it and walk around with it, little director's monitor. I love this setup actually. And then I have it on a Benro monopod. So a pro tip with this too is you can use this to go out to your spot here. And also I'm using manual lenses. So you can use this to go out to your spot there, pull focus to this, tape your mark on the ground with gaff tape, then move it back wherever you need it to be if you're shooting solo, which I was here setting this up. So the only reason I have the monitor up here, as you can see, there's no camera operators here. It was just for looks to make it look like there was a set. It would have been cool though if somebody was back here, you know, watching it during the video just for dramatic effect. Someone's not even a camera operator, just for the look. Maybe have some headphones on that are plugged into nothing, so it looks like an actual production set, right? But so that's that. I'll get to the lenses in just a sec. And then over here, I have the Edelkrone slider on just the flex tilt head. I didn't use a pan head because I wanted the dramatic movement effect, which is also the main reason I put the iPad here is just for looks, because it looked cool on that angle to add more of a parallax effect to having something in the foreground, because this slider is very small, doesn't travel very far. And that's the A7 IV. I don't know if I said that. And on their second angle, they were using what looked like a Dana dolly of some sort, a rail system. So it was definitely up higher and went further. And then I spent forever trying to figure out what cameras they're using. It looked like they might be using Sony is what I picked up on. I'm not sure, it could be a Red, but their B cam, I don't know what that was. But I did obsess over their lens choices. That I thought had the hugest effect on what I thought was cool about it. And I'm pretty sure I narrowed it down to the Sigma Cine line lenses, and I'm pretty sure they used a 20mm here, and I'm thinking the camera A, their main camera, was either a 35 to 40. I don't think it was a 50. It may have been a 20, 24, but I think it may have been around 30, 35. Just named all the lenses there, but I know it was under 50, but I'm not sure where, and I don't think it was quite as wide as a 20. So I have the SLRMagic Cine lenses here. And this is what I thought was unique because I'm not used to shooting. I think we all are used to shooting with 50 or more telephoto lenses on talking head pieces just to really blur and compress that background. But I thought what was most interesting about this Xbox Direct was it was really wide, but really shallow. So I assume they were all full frame, but it was really shallow. It seemed like it had a full frame look on it. And I thought that was really cool and unique because when you shoot wider on talking head pieces, it seems more like you get, I don't know how to explain it. You can kind of see more of the character, full of their full body, not so much just the talking head or, you know, it's just torso up and then you got like a close up of their face. It was more, you get to see them as a whole person in the setting, which I thought was cool. Because all these interviews were done in their offices I assume it was their offices. They were in what looked like a game development office studio. And I thought that was pretty cool. So also shooting wide, if you're doing talking head pieces or interviews with characters that may be talking directly into the camera, you could put them in a setting that fits them. So like here, obviously it's a home gym. This would probably be cool for like somebody talking about something health or fitness or gym related, an athlete talking, that would be cool. But you also can now use this setting to also piece together with the person, if that makes sense. They can go along with their set. You know what I'm saying. And so that I put a 35mm SLR Magic on the camera A, which I think looked just about right. I have an 18mm SLR Magic on the A7 IV, which is really wide, which I rarely use this lens. And it actually turned out really cool for this. And I thought it wasn't gonna look as cool as I thought, but it turned out really well. I think I'm gonna definitely use that more. But I thought this was the main interesting piece of this whole thing, was shooting wide for these, which 35 isn't ultra wide, but it is wider than what I'm typically used to and what I think we're all most used to seeing. And shooting wide on both lenses was very interesting for me. I'm used to seeing and used to doing, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are too, putting the B cam on like a 70-200 or a 75mm prime or something like that. Or shooting on a 35 or 50 and then using your B cam as like a 70 or 100 or 90mm lens. But those are the lenses, and I think that really makes up the majority of this look. Audio. Obviously I use the boom in here. It is the Sennheiser MKH416. And then this is just a cheap boom pole. And then I got the XLR running into, I'll stop the recording, a Zoom F6. I love this thing right there. I have no idea what kind of microphone they were using. I couldn't tell that from what I was seeing, but I think that's it. That's really this setup. It's super simple, it really is. I'm definitely gonna use this again because it's simple, just the dome. And another thing I thought was interesting, I'll go back up here. The light, they use their dome pretty high. I thought it was higher than what I know I'm definitely used to doing. So I might start using that more with one light source, just to kind of frame it up a little higher. And I thought that was just one more little thing. And I think it's good to kind of look at some of these things. Some of the work you kind of, if you do talking head work, look up what some of the high-end production companies are doing and try to imitate that. And I think that's really useful to try to replicate it yourself and then have a bunch of different setups, which can be tools in your toolbox where well, maybe I'll go wide and do a setup like this on a scene that may have a big room that you kind of want it to be a little more unique, because I think we're all so used to the telephoto shots all the time. I mean, those have a place too, and those have, you choose those per project, but he's just smelling something over there. So I want to say, what are some things I do different? What do I wish I had here that I could do to make it better? So first of all, I'm going to say the audio. Originally, I was going to put a sound blanket on the ground, but as I was walking in and out of here, it was snowy and I was tracking mud and water, and I didn't feel like dirtying my blankets just for this. I figured I'll take some sound quality hit on not having to wash my sound blankets. So the sound, obviously, this specific room definitely needed more sound treatment, which is something I'm working on in general in here. I was pretty happy with the backlight. I may have added a bounce here at an angle, more down like to get some fill on this side. But other than that, I think I'd be pretty happy with the setup to use. All the little things maybe I glossed over, like I forgot to mention the teleprompter that I'm using, that I used for this video. It's a useful one. I do recommend it for certain things. It is not the best teleprompter, but I think it is the best value for, I think it was like $150 or so. If you do get it, I recommend the V2 remote. The remote it comes with is just janky. I'll link the tripods, any small pieces I used, the tilt head that I used on top of the Elechrome slider, the batteries I used on everything too, the ones I actually use, and then maybe some that I'm planning on getting. Let me know what you guys think. Did I get close to the feel of what the company that shot the Xbox Developer Direct stream? Does it look similar? The things that I know won't look the same is, obviously I'm in a black room. The contrast is gonna be way more moodier. They were in well-lit, day-lit daytime offices with lots of windows. So obviously that's a difference. Setting's gonna play a difference. Play a part in what is different in the way it looks. So, but yeah, well, that's it. If you guys enjoyed this kind of video, let me know. I can show you guys more setups that I do in certain rooms. This is majority of what we do is a lot of talking head things, and I think it's useful to know how to set these up for almost any project you get hired to do. It's probably the most common thing you'll do in the video world. Well, I will talk to you guys in the next one.